Hello, everybody. I have kicked off the recording, and today's edition of SIG Instrumentation is December 9th, 2021. It is a Thursday. We have a bunch of stuff on the agenda today and a lot of people attending. Thanks so much for joining us. You can follow along on the agenda, which is both in the invite for the meeting, and I've also dropped a link in the chat. I guess our agenda was supposed to start off with announcements and action item follow-up. What did we have for action items? I guess I don't have any current announcements other than 124 development is open. Hurrah! And unfortunately, I don't think that there's a schedule up for 124, so I can't tell you dates for anything. I can go and check really quickly and the release repo. Yeah, they don't have anything up for 124. I don't think they have a release team assembled yet, so we don't have a schedule yet, so I can't give you any announcements there.
I know that Jordan said that like there is a calendar from the release team, and they mentioned that the announcement phase will be late January, I guess, for 124.
Yeah, that's what I would expect as well. They did promise us that they were supposed to get a schedule out before the release actually started, and technically, like, we're in the 124 cycle now. Like, they cut the alpha yesterday, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But in any case, yes, I think that late January is a fair assumption. Technically, I think that the next release cycle doesn't actually open until January because they want to have some time between releases, and the last couple of weeks of the year, people tend to shut down anyways. So that should be coming. But yeah, we don't have any dates yet. Action items from our last meeting. I guess we had a follow-up on the resource metrics API, but we have that on the agenda. So, and I was supposed to remove an outdated README, which I think happened. So we're all good. So yes, next topic, selecting a new tech lead. At our last meeting, Frederick announced that he will be stepping down. He meant to send an email, but that email has not been sent with that announcement. So the rest of us leads now take on the responsibility to do that and to announce a new tech lead to replace Frederick. So if you're interested in doing that, please let us know. We will probably select someone, and then there'll be a lazy consensus period. To give folks a heads up about that. I don't think that we can announce anyone today because Han isn't here. So consider this, I guess, more notice, but I will try to make sure that we have at least a written email go out because that should have happened already. So action, written email on Frederick's departure. Okay. And I'll send that to myself. I will at least make sure it happens. Okay, and then I guess we have a few things on the agenda that are kind of, I guess, either related to KEP discussion or part of KEP discussion. So let me just, I realize that the doc isn't in the notes, so let me link that and then we can get into that. So let me also drop a link in the chat. And maybe, would it be helpful if I shared my screen as well? Nods, okay. Let me just pop this out. Okay, so this is the doc, which I linked here. And it's mostly just sort of a copy-paste carry forward from 123. So this is the list, plus there might be a few new things on this list. We want to make sure all the new things are on this list, so do let us know if we missed anything. But this is basically the list of stuff from the last release, and this is now alpha. So I guess we want to see if we want to start graduating more things. And it would be, this is sort of preliminary, like obviously the release cycle hasn't opened up yet, but it's good to have at least sort of advance notice and make sure that anything we want to plan to do this cycle, we have resourcing on and sort of everything's in place because there are potentially a lot of things that we could move forward. So first item, Merrick, deprecating Klog specific flags. I think that one went alpha on 123. Do we want to move it to beta on 124?
That's a good question. I wasn't prepared for that.
We don't have to decide today. It's just kind of have it cooking.
So, preliminary, no. I would need to check out what are our goals for. Like,
we could look real quick.
I'm also the link.
Beta. So apparently our goals for beta are Go Runner project is well maintained and documented. Documentation on migrating off Klog flags is publicly available, and the flags are marked as deprecated. Doesn't sound like too much.
So technically we have we could do more in Go Runner, but most of those are done. So
these are done
I don't
already.
know. Yeah, Patrick, do you have any?
So I can start at the bottom. The Klog flags are marked as deprecated.
Okay, that's good.
We already did that in 123.
Okay.
Because we wanted to start the deprecation period as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say if we hadn't done that already.
The documentation on system logs in the Kubernetes website, that mentions the deprecation and it explains how to use Go Runner as a replacement for Klog flags. So I think we could argue that the documentation for that is also available. I also still plan to have a blog post published about this, and I have a talk proposal that I want to submit for KubeCon. So I think we should have fairly good public information about this deprecation and what to do about it.
Okay, then that sounds like a pretty easy thing for us to bring to beta. It shouldn't require too many resources, and so I guess we just need to ensure that the cap is updated.
I have a pending PR for the cap. I pinged you today on that one because we pushed out the timeline. The last concern was when can we actually remove the Klog flags? I think I argued
it wouldn't
125 be... and I pushed it out to 126. So
I was going to say, I think it has to be 3 full releases of deprecation. So I would expect like 126 if they were deprecated in 123.
So there was one beta criteria where I'm not sure. Go Runner itself, the tool is fine. Wasn't there some other tools that we wanted? No.
Yeah, there were definitely alternatives that were discussed in the cap. Yeah. But we don't have to hash that all out now. This is just mostly like a quick overview in-out for the release.
No, I think we are fine. Go Runner works, so that's good done.
Cool. So it's good to confirm that. Okay, so metric cardinality enforcement. Do we have anybody who's available to pick this up?
I can look into it if you want. I don't think there is much to do. Last time I checked.
Okay.
Because I think the only item from alpha to beta was to support giving a file as a parameter for this particular feature. But I'm not sure, because it's not yet documented, so I'm not sure when we want to do that.
Okay. Well, you can take a look, and we don't have to decide now, but
yeah, sure.
We will see. This one, we might GA it. I think I need to reach out to Clayton. I don't think there's anything that really needs to be done at this point. We may consider promoting some of these metrics to stable, but I don't even think that was criteria in the cap. So I will see what Clayton has to say. David, do you know what's going on with this cap? Last I looked, there was still a bunch of unresolved stuff on the PR.
Yeah, look at the PR.
Yeah, it hasn't been updated since September 20th.
Okay. I think, yeah, I'll ping them on Slack and follow up with them.
Okay.
The contextual logging that I'm proposing seems fairly relevant to this use case here. Just wanted to mention that, because contextual logging is all about having some data attached to every single log message.
Yes, that was definitely similar to, I think, some of the stuff that they were interested in. I don't think we have that on our list yet, so I'll make sure to add that at the end, because I saw you put that on the agenda. So structured logging, I'm assuming we're not doing anything because it went beta in 1.23, so typically we don't GA for another release. There might be like some migration work or something happening, but I don't think that we're graduating anything, so we don't need to put
Sounds
it
good.
into enhancements.
Question.
Yes.
From a technical point of view, or a procedural point of view, do we need to have it marked for the release to actually get features accepted?
No,
No,
you just
okay.
need basically the things that you would need, like specifically a cap, like the reviewers will take like a closer look, is if you're making any changes in package features, like you're changing the maturity of a feature gate or something like that, or if you're changing an API state, then those are the sorts of things that we would expect there to be an enhancement for. But if it's just like, we're continuing this migration, and we're not planning on graduating this thing, then there's no specific need to have an enhancement targeted.
That also was my understanding, but then we had this one case where the release team basically complained about structured logging doing something in 1.23 and not being listed explicitly for that release, which surprised me
I don't think that we need to tell them every time we're doing something, because like otherwise we can't do any work between releases and we will have to not graduate things when we're not planning on graduating them. So I will follow up with the release team.
Yeah. We got the exception, so that was covered.
Yeah, well, the difference in that case was I think we did want to actually like declare it as beta last release, because we had like slipped over a few times.
So that was the change that we wanted to see.
But that was to change the maturity, not just like do some interim work, and like in between, I'm not sure. So anyways, I'll follow up with them. API server tracing. David, are we going to beta?
I think we should. I think we just need to have a release of etcd in order to update the dependencies to stable, which is one of the requirements. And I also need to do some work, at least at Google, to shop it around and get feedback on it. But it may be helpful if there are others. I think Red Hat might be doing some tracing related things. So if they have feedback as well, or if
yes,
we can get
Sally has something on here for kubelet tracing. So
that's right. So maybe we can work together to get feedback from at least our two orgs.
That would be awesome.
But yes, beta in 1.24.
Awesome. So I've taken off the question mark in the hopes that we are certain on that. So redesign event API. I asked around a little bit about this one because like the API is graduated, which is good. The feature is not technically marked as stable because we still have a lot of stuff on the old API. And like in theory, we're never going to get rid of it. But Jordan suggested I maybe add a to update the cap to say that the goal is that we don't want any in-tree components using it. So I don't think we have anyone to own this one still. I think it was owned by Chelsea, but I don't know that there's anyone staffed to work on this. So
should we get a new assignee?
I can help also if you want. Because I looked into event like a while ago, and as far as I remember, like there was only 1 or 2 components in Kubernetes, like in the core that were using the new API, and none other than that were moving.
Yeah, that's part of the problem too. Like we went to all this trouble of making this new API that has a lot less performance scale issues and whatnot, and then nothing's using it. So great, because I think that will help with some scaling things. Kubernetes dynamic components log sanitization. I would like to deprecate this. I know that I think some people at Google are using this, but as far as I'm aware, it's not being used anywhere else. We had a bunch of reservations when we first introduced the feature. And as far as I can tell, like I've tried to email the owner and get feedback, and I haven't heard anything. So I would like to announce this for deprecation. I don't know if there are any strong objections to that.
I support that. It's actually it's a blocker for contextual logging, because we would have to update this other cap to make it work with
Yeah.
a new redesigned logging
Yeah.
infrastructure. And if we can deprecate it, that would be good.
Okay. I will mark this as deprecated. I will send the email. I do have to touch base with the SIG security people, because we technically moved this KEP to them because it was one of a couple of like security related KEPs we tried to hand over to them. But it turns out there is some code that SIG Instrumentation actually owns for this one. And I know they were kind of like, well, what do we do with this? So we might offer to take it back, and I need to follow up with them on that. So cool. Yeah, because this one has been in like perma alpha for like 3+ releases, so I think it's time to wish it good night. I haven't heard anything from Han about metric stability classes. I know that there was discussion about targeting this for 124, but has anyone seen a KEP?
If not.
Okay. I don't think he's had the bandwidth to work on this. Also, let me start tagging people, because I realized I'm not doing that. Do-do-do. I don't know if this helps anybody else, but I find it super useful to get an email being like, you need to do all of these things now. So this is probably David. Okay. Does anybody want to look into this or pick this up or ping Han? Should I just tag Han?
Just tag Han.
Okay.
He should at least be able to respond to the question.
Okay, and then I think this one is Shuai, graduating the metrics API to GA. So I put sort of like beta and GA in question marks, so I don't think we had a KEP for this one before, but it's already beta, right?
Yes, it has been beta for 5 years.
Okay. But there's no associated KEP. So I guess, do you want to go ahead and just like write like you have like a skeleton KEP for, like it doesn't have to have all the details or whatever. Also, there might be design proposals if it's 5 years old in the archive design proposal repo. So you can totally just like reference that as well, and don't have to like go and rewrite everything.
Yeah, and before, I haven't, before doing that, I have a few questions regarding the this metrics, this API SLO, because I haven't seen any definition, for like SLO.
I'm on the production readiness team, so I can help you with that. We have a little bit of documentation on it, but there's like some comments in line if you actually edit the markdown. What's your email so I can assign you to this?
Oh, just type it in chat.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
If I can just like add one thing regarding that topic. So we had like 3 metrics API that are still not graduated to GA, even though they are here like for a while now. So the metrics API, we have also the custom metrics one and the external metrics one, and they all suffer from the same problem, that they've been beta for like too long. So I'm wondering like if we should also like do the same for the two other resource metrics API.
I think that makes sense. I have tagged you as a reviewer, and perhaps once we have a design doc up, we can discuss.
Yeah, I can also open the caps for the other ones.
Cool. And then I know that Sally had wanted to propose this kubelet open telemetry tracing for alpha this release, and she had started doing a bunch of work and short presentation previously. Does anybody have any concerns about pulling this into the release? Sounds like no. Okay, I will tag
Can
her.
you, yeah, can you also tag or give me an action item so I
Yeah.
get another email?
I'll add you as the approver for that one, David.
Oh, thank you.
So here, I'll make sure you get your email. And this one is on Sally. Okay, look at all those action items. I feel great about this. We're so prepared. And then, Patrick, you had one more thing that I think you maybe wanted to add to the list?
Yeah, that's the contextual logging. So just to give everyone some some background, this has been in very early drafts of structured logging and then was pulled out as being too complicated as a first step. But I think we should bring it back now because there are use cases in SIG scheduling, for example, where they ask for features that exactly depend on this functionality. Being able to attach values to all log calls that happen in a certain call chain is one example. My personal pet peeve is automated testing and having the test output associated with individual failed test cases.
Mm-hmm.
All of these are things that can be done based on the new GoLogger API and implementation infrastructure that Tim Hawkins has been designing and where I'm now helping. In Kubernetes, we just need to decide how we want to do it, how we want to make a logger available in a certain call chain without falling back to a global logger, which is what we currently do with Klog.
Mm-hmm.
And that is mostly the technical question that we need to solve, where we need to get agreement among Kubernetes developers, because the CAP proposes to use the context, the Go context structure, and attach a logger to it for those functions that already have a context. And I know that some people have concerns about that, but I think it's the most sensible thing, because if you look at things like client Go, it's a public API. We could break it and add a logger parameter to it to every function, but I really don't want to propose that as the solution.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I think that makes sense. Maybe let's get like an actual presentation to the full SIG in the new year, and we can discuss more then. I'm going to just put this sort of as question mark for now, but I think we need more information, and yeah, we can discuss further.
Okay. So right now I've been discussing it with SIG scheduling and with the folks who had open use cases for this, and I've been pointing them at the CAP. And I know that SIG scheduling, Aldo, is fully behind that and wants this done because they have an open issue about enhancing logging in kubescheduler, and this is a major part of their solution that they want to do. Yeah. And the other thing is about structured logging. One observation is that we are basically now touching large parts of a code base to replace klog info F with klog info S. And if we then go in and later do the same thing with contextual logging, it touches the same files a second time. And we need to, for reviewers again, when we make that second change, my thinking also was that if we can get contextual logging, the infrastructure in place in 124, and perhaps have kubescheduler as a good test case and proof of concept in practice that this works, then future conversions can directly do contextual logging and structured logging in one PR for certain parts of the code base. And overall, we will make more progress towards our ultimate goals if we combine those.
That sounds great to me. We have 1 minute left. So let's come back to the rest of our agenda. So Shuai, feel free to ping me about the SLO stuff offline. I can help you with that. I don't think we have Francesco today, so we can push this into the new year. Are there anything else that you would like to discuss? Because we will be definitely canceling our final 2 scheduled meetings of the year, and I'm not sure what's going on with triage next week, as there's also the conflicting contributor celebration. Do we want to make a call right now as to whether or not we should cancel? I know I'm going to be doing contributor celebration stuff, so. Oh, that's an announcement. You should register for the contributor celebration. I will add a link to the agenda so you can register. Okay, do we have anything else for today? Sounds like no. Well, it was wonderful to see you all. We won't be meeting as a full SIG until the new year, so if you're taking some time off, I hope you have a restful and relaxing break, and see you all in 2022. Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you.